good guide of when we're going to get significant movements. And I've had these on the charts, oh guys, for, you know, at least since 2016. So let's just gently move these down. There we go. And come back across. I'm having to move the cycle brackets down because prices have gone too far down. That's the story. But yeah, anyway, so the date that we've had on this, you know, whether they become self-fulfilling prophecies, or people say this is probably a good time to teach you guys how these work, because it's a question I get so many times. So it's not an indicator or a template or anything. It's actually over here in your tools and in patterns and their time cycles. And you click on those, and no matter what coin you're on, you're trying to identify patterns on the charts where there's cycles, and there can be bigger cycles within smaller cycles as well. So there might be, and we don't know exactly what they are. So what does that mean? So people might get paid on the same day every month and put a bit into crypto, or some people, majority of people, might get paid on a certain day every week. Or we might have, one thing I've spoken about a lot is big trading volume on a Friday. Friday, Saturday and Sunday tends to be significant, where we have turning events such as big sell-offs or big buys. So whether these, you know, the dips or the boosts up, you know, I talk about this is when we can have capitulation, or it can be a sign that new money is going to flow into the upside as well. And here we are having this capitulation to the day. So this is again something that's very interesting. So along with that, with the RSI at you know, fairly low levels, and yes, it matters slightly less in a bear market. It's still relevant. We can still look at it for divergence, such as we just highlighted on the 4-hour chart. MACD is, you know, getting extended, the histogram to the downside. All these videos I've done, guys, these are all your tools that you formulate along with your opinion. What is sentiment doing at the moment? You know, sentiment is pretty damn ordinary. You know, people have been beat up. This has been one of, if not the hardest market. So in 2014 and 15, it was pretty brutal when people would make fun of you for investing in Bitcoin, and it was down, you know, 90% from $1,300 back down to $160. You know, and I certainly bought more on the way up. I was pretty excited when Bitcoin started to take off. You know, after investing in Bitcoin under $100 and it starts to take off, I wanted to buy more, and I bought more at $700 and $800, and then it went down to $160. So, you know, those coins that I bought at high prices were down 70 or 80%, and they stayed there for 2 years. So, you know, that was painful. But, you know, good things come to those who wait. Why should everyone be rewarded? Why should everyone that buys crypto make money and get rich? You know, investing's not that easy. It tests you out, and it shakes out the weak hands. This is all just part of a cycle, and I'm a big believer we're going to have at least 2 more of these super cycles where people will get excited about Bitcoin, then they go down the rabbit hole and find out about altcoins. And it's the good projects that actually survive and are putting out headlines that will run the hardest when we have the next alt season, so to speak. Okay, so a little bounce happening now. Not overly convincing still. We have to prove ourselves at these averages. And what we'd probably like to see is a touch, a test, a little pullback to form a higher low here, and then a big burst through, you know, that 5% candle, and that would give me, you know, a lot of confidence that we're at least forming. And when I say a bottom, we have to obviously see how that performs in the coming hours and days, but at least a few strong days. If we get, you know, if we get a good bottom and it follows through well with good volume in the next few hours, that can mean we're at least going to get, alt season or a good bounce for days or maybe even weeks. And then, that we don't know what news headlines are going to come out that, news and TA, it all mixes in together. And if the ETF got, denied, then, we'd have to say it, all right, are we going to look down and look for new lows? So it all mixes in together. TA people tell you that news doesn't matter. News people tell you that TA doesn't work. But guys, the fact is, if there's someone staring at a screen and trading based on one or the other, then it has some sort of importance. So that's why I try to do a mix of both. That's why I try to learn a little bit of all TA. The only TA that I haven't really ever taken time to study is Tone Vase and their TD sequential, where they're looking for, I don't even really understand how it works. They're looking for nine candle patterns for significant turning events and whatnot. But everyone's got their method. Find one that works for you. Nearly 500 watching. Awesome. I love it, guys. Thank you. And thanks to everyone that's smashing that like button or sharing this. So how are we going for a spike here? Let's have a look at Coinbase. And Coinbase doesn't have the volume it used to have, guys, when it was getting 100,000 new retail traders, a day or whatever that crazy figure was in the middle of the mania. So here we are, we've touched the moving averages. Now we want to pull back and form this high low, and then we're looking for a big burst through. And that's the first event that will give us confidence, along with some better volume. So this volume here, not the bulls aren't convincing the bears that have had some big selling pressure here that they're showing up and they're going to change the direction. So, and I did get a fill at IOTA, guys, in this this downturn here. The first downturn I had an order sitting at 28 cents. So IOTA's holding up fairly well if you look at this. It did get down a little bit lower, but again, it's hit its 50 period moving average and now having its pullback. But see, some of these altcoins, some of our favorites for trading, big wicks coming in there. The buyers want this. The buyers, I'll be honest, I bought a lot of them ECGO at $6 because I thought the good projects weren't going to go down more than 75 to 80%. But here we are down 95%, and people are going to want to buy these for the long term. So we can go down the list of all your favorites, but altcoins are making high lows compared to Bitcoin here. This is looking pretty good now. Neo was $200, now $7. Ripple is one of those coins that I actually think is probably going to perform well price-wise. Love it or hate it, there's so many people out there that just absolutely love these coins. I actually think Stellar Lumens is going to outperform Ripple, though, and get a lot of those banking partnerships and those sort of relationships that a lot of the Ripple holders are believers in. ETH, not looking so strong just yet. Litecoin's absolutely taken a beating. Bitcoin Cash and ABC, it's just, no comment. I've beat that horse to death, guys. Alright, so here's our high low. If we do get some good bull volume here, I might make another trade, or I might add to my position on the breakout. So 3 thumbs down now, guys. If you don't like something I'm saying, let me know in the comments. We always want to get better, or some people are just we have 1 or 2 people that I think dislike every video as soon as it's uploaded. You're always going to have some percentage of people you can't win over. Alright, so if you're just tuning in now, this is how I like to have my setup, where I have my phone, I have that on maybe the 1 minute time frame if I need, so then I can flick through other time frames on my main chart that you guys are looking at. I've got my laptop down here, logged into my trading stations on BitMEX or Bitfinex, and I've got my plan. So one thing I spoke about the other night in our premium group, where we have our Slack channel and our private Facebook group, where we talk about crypto 24/7. One thing I spoke about the other night was have a plan. So know what size orders, have them ready, so you can just press click. And if you need to do a market buy, so it just gets filled when you see the bottoms in, on Bitfinex, that means that you're paying, I think, 0.2% instead of 0.1% for an order. So if I have to pay slightly extra, I don't want to miss out and wait for my order to get filled, because yes, I'm paying 0.1% extra, but what happens if you miss out on, a 3% bounce by the time that order gets into market and gets filled? So that's the way I look at all this with my trading. I've got my plan. I know what I want to see for a bottom to be formed, and now we're just waiting. I'll be logged into my favorite trading groups, watching my favorite traders on Twitter, everything leading into it, waiting for the signs that the bottom is going to form. So this isn't too bad here. Now, yes, this is only a 1 minute chart, but that's declining bear volume compared to some of the bigger selling that we have seen in the past. But we still need the bulls to step in here and convince the market that this isn't just another case of the moving averages catching up, and we're about to roll over and get another flush down. So that's what we're watching for now. 200 likes, thanks guys. And the renovating has stopped for the time being. Good morning, or wherever you are. Where do we go from here? Well, we're looking for a temporary bottom, whether that's the bottom for the entire year or just a relief rally. It's been so painful the past few weeks and the past few days. Bitcoin's down 40% just in a few days. So whenever things get this painful, it tends to have at least a relief rally. So Jack's saying using words like cheap, bargains, without any metrics to value the project is madness. Yeah. Guys, you've got to have conviction. You've got to understand the projects you're invested in. And if their coin or token has no utility, then there's no support. There's no lower support for the price other than speculators. A bottom will not form. Why is that? Why wouldn't we form a bottom? We've been in a bear market for 11 months and we're down 80%, and Bitcoin tends to have corrections between 70 to 90%. What time is it where a lot of you guys are tuning in from overseas? So let's have a flick through some other charts on some other time frames, and as we do that, let's have a look at the Bitcoin bounce. That hasn't been that great so far, but we can keep going down our list. Something like Binance coin, wow, that's looking really, really strong. Funfair, there's not a lot of trading volume on Bitfinex, but man, under 0.5% there. Cardano got to what, $1.10, $1.30, something like that. Now it's down to 3 cents, so that's down 97% from its all-time highs. And I'm looking forward to them releasing their mainnet, computational layer of the mainnet. But at the moment, unfortunately, it doesn't have a lot of utility. So as we just said, it doesn't have a lot to fall back on. But you could say that about so many projects. NEM is one that's interesting. It's actually recovered a little bit from all that horrific news, but still down 97%. 0x Power Ledge has been doing well lately. Walton Chain, I would have thought that maybe would have had a stronger bounce. So Wabi got to 12 cents weeks and weeks ago and hasn't made a new low, so that's significant. Nexus is another one that's down, 97 or 98%. Nano is one that tends to get pushed a lot by a few of the big YouTube channels. It was $3 only a few weeks ago, and now it's back down under $1. ICX, man, oh man, this is one that's down like 99%. Oh, sorry, that's an old V-chain chart. Basic attention token. Monero, I would have thought this one's definitely going to have a lot of use case when the market recovers. Privacy coins are going to have their use case. PIVX, Qtum, Lisk. So some of the larger cap coins is the top 20 that have had probably more significant bounces, but at the moment, this isn't looking that flash. It's looking like it wants to roll over and have another leg down. Genesis Vision. I have heard of Genesis Vision. Holding its Sats value really well. Guys, I really am not a fan of trading against Bitcoin. Some people say, oh, it's holding its SAT value really well, but that means it's still going down in price. If Bitcoin's fallen 10% today, it means it's gone down 10% in price and market cap. So it doesn't tell me a lot just because on a chart, its price in Bitcoin has stayed sideways, if that makes sense. So if you're trading to build up the amount of Bitcoin you own, that's probably more useful in a bull market. But let's say over the last 11 months, if you'd been trading charts against Bitcoin and you're making some trades and you're accumulating Bitcoin and Sats, but you're still losing money. Now, unless that was your plan to accumulate Bitcoin for the long term, who wants to trade to lose money to decrease their total, worth or account holdings? Even on this dump, high-frequency trading bots do not trade at full speed. Not enough volume. I think different exchanges have different trading bots. So, yeah, there's probably a lot of bots that are plugged in through APIs into Bitfinex and Binance. Probably less so into Coinbase. Definitely BitMEX. Man, oh man, that scary trading on there with some of the wicks. You might think that let's go to BitMEX right now and see if what I'm talking about. So BitMEX, if you have a look at something like Ethereum, the price might have only gone down to $109 on other exchanges, but they can just have these wicks that go down to like $90 and wipe you out. And sometimes after they clean the wicks up on the charts thereafter. So let's see if we've got any big wicks on other time frames. And this is traded against Bitcoin as well. So no huge wicks there. But man, I can't. It's actually scary that BitMEX has the majority of volume. If we have a look over here, guys, markets, the most volume comes from an exchange that, it is a derivatives exchange, and that is just insane. 10 times bigger than Binance and Bitfinex is people trading on 10, 20, 100 leverage. That is really, really scary, and I don't think that they're going to maintain that. I think in a bull market, as we get more exchanges and more money coming through other means, I just don't think you can have that as your main source. Look what happened when it went offline the other day. crazy to think. Okay, new lows. Here we go. Is this the final flush? The lower the better, guys. As I've said before, I just want to rip this band-aid off and be done with it. So the moving averages got rejected. We retested it, and we're just not able to get through there. Now this is cooling off. If this sort of, the more sideways it goes rather than pushing it straight down, the better the chances are that we can burst through it. 510 watching, tuning in to see if we can get a bottom, and listen to the the baby's room get renovated in the background. I still haven't finished my coffee. What's the time? Well, how long have we been streaming for, guys? About over half an hour now. Well done. This is a long one, but everyone wants to know. Someone's saying, William's saying the wicks on BitMEX don't wipe you out because they use fair price marking index for liquidation. Is that true? Okay, that's very interesting. So I don't understand how that can work though, because if I've got an order that's sitting at $90 and we get a wick down there, that order has to be filled. So there has to be someone on the other side that trade, although because they are derivatives, you're not trading against someone else whose order is getting filled. Okay, so that's really interesting. That's good to know. Thank you, William. So what he's saying is that if we do get a wick down that below your wick liquidation price, they don't actually liquidate you unless the market value, the average value on other exchanges got down that low. So trading and the price and the orders on Bitfinex is one price, but the actual liquidations they use for your contracts and your positions is another price. But again, I want to look into that more, because if they're liquidating absolutely huge positions, and we see those BitMEX wrecked Twitter accounts and so on, when they're liquidating those huge positions, there has to be someone on the other side of that, and it has to be picked up by the liquidity and the volume on the exchange somewhere. So it would all have to happen in the background rather than on the exchange for that to happen. So if anyone else has information about that, that's very interesting, and I have been planning on doing a whole video about BitMEX, because it's very dangerous, and I'd rather teach people how to use it exactly than speculating. Check my Twitter account, mate. I've got a hostage knocking for help. Shout out to the chart guys. Yeah, absolutely love Dan and the work that those guys do. Department of Justice investigating Tether. I mean, man, we've seen that headline come out on and off every year for 4 years now. I'll check my Twitter account. What are people telling me to check Twitter for? Anything in particular, guys? I don't think there's any breaking news. If there's any breaking news, this is the sort of crap that really gets under my skin. You know, I was getting trolled on Twitter the other night by Australian investing celebrities about, you know, told you the bubbles popped, you were wrong, and these guys, these old fuddy-duddies, having the last laugh about Bitcoin. Man, oh man. Are we going to have the last laugh during the next bull market? And just, you know, write it down, make a note of it. You don't have to say I told you so in the future, but you can just send them a friendly tweet saying, hey, remember when you kicked me when I was down, or you said the bubble had popped, that turned out to be one of the best times to buy. You know, that's the sort of thing where you can win more people over. So guys, if there's any articles or people telling me to check Twitter, I can't see any significant news. So post them in the chat if there's something that I'm missing. The selling's getting less and less though. Look at the first big leg down, and then we had that sort of dead cat bounce, but it's just we're not really getting absolutely hammered now. And if we zoom out, some decent volume there. Okay, how long have we got left? Another hour left in this candle. If we go lower here, this candle is likely going to finish up with the highest volume candle. And on the daily chart, we've got an hour left, and we are looking for this to be our final capitulation day, as the cycle brackets have shown us here, guys. This is what we're looking for as the turning point, November 24. We really want to get back up and test this average and just blow through this time, guys. Come on. Check the Nuggets news Twitter. That's Ben is signed into that. I don't get the notifications for that one. Sorry. So, how's my trade going? I have been filled at 28 cents on IOTA, and I do want to add to this position. Whether it goes lower, I want to add to it and get my costs down while we're looking for a bounce, or if it breaks out, I want to add to it because I think this could be, a temporary, if not the bottom. How's everyone's weekend been anyway? What are your thoughts on major Australian news channels kicking Bitcoin while it's down? Synchronized attack. Oh, man. How often have we seen this, guys? We get to key levels on the charts, we get to key dates or times, and we get 6 different news stations publish an article at once. Jamie Dimon's, Warren Buffett's, guys, just ignore that. It's absolute nonsense. These are like people bashing the internet and making fun of the internet in the early days. Heads up, the world's Bitcoin-friendly shopping app, BitPlaza, just launched on iTunes and Google Play. Anyone can now spend Bitcoin on everyday items. See, all these good news articles that should be in the headlines, people are just ignore, and they don't move the market like they would in a bull run, because you're probably sick of hearing me say this, that at the end of the day, TA, fundamentals, news, we read it and we acknowledge it, but sentiment is what drives markets, and at the moment we're in a bear market for sentiment, and sentiment is horrible. So the trend is down, sentiment is down. Who's knocking? Jim, if you've just joined, there's some renovations going on in the background. Our baby is due end of February, first week of March. And we need to make a few changes to our spare room that isn't quite finished in our house. Another $400 US drop could easily happen. That would put us right in the mid threes, so about 3.5, certainly on the cards. And there's a lot of orders stacked between here and there. Some of the big boys at Mission Control and the whales, they're going to have their orders filled at those levels. They've been very, very patient on the way down. That's not Bitcoin getting drilled in the background, guys, as someone just said. Do I still use Steemit? Yeah, I post to Steemit. It's funny, I post to Steemit and Reddit, everything I post to YouTube and whatnot, and there's less people on them, there's more trolls on Reddit. You can post the best article or the most helpful educational video, and it will get 0 thumbs up. So it's funny, certain things get attention on Reddit and Steemit, but the majority of the time it's just noise there. Not a lot of people that are active on there, but always got the links to all our social medias in the description of all these videos, guys. Supercars in Newcastle today. Okay. Ripple is up against Bitcoin. Yeah, I mean, if they get those banking partners, guys, and if they actually get people using XRP, it's going to go up in price. So it depends on whether or not you think it's going to have that use case. Top alts I'm looking at. So what coins do I think are going to bounce the most? It's the coins that are good quality projects, probably in the top 100, certainly in the top 20. If there's coins in the top 20 that are down 99 to 97% that we've spoken about, the chances are that they are going to bounce the most. They've got big communities. You look at the number of people talking about them on Twitter, Reddit, in the Facebook groups. All those people are going to rush back in and want to average down. How'd cricket go yesterday? I spoke about that at the start of the live stream, guys. Unfortunately, we lost. The body is getting a little bit sore these days. Cairns has a huge crypto community. Yep, we want to come up and launch Cairns, similar to how we launched Brisbane Airport with all the shops accepting crypto. And we've got some big tourist attractions in Tasmania that we're going to sign up to accept Bitcoin, and hopefully Binance Coin, and get CZ and the Binance guys behind this and help promoting crypto in Australia. And I've actually got another, for those of you that are tuning in, 550 loyal followers, a really big announcement that's coming out this week. Some changes for, how do I put this? It's going to be good for adoption in Australia and for working with government, tax agencies, authorities. Because at the moment, the big community in crypto is very disjointed from the guidelines and the white collar side of things. Alrighty, someone's saying they posted me something relevant on Twitter. I actually have notifications turned off. Can you post the link in the chat here for me? Or hashtag Nuggets News, because I've got notifications turned off, guys. I get too many notifications otherwise. Or let me know your Twitter name. That's probably easiest, and I'll go and check your page. Because apparently you're saying this is a good talking point, so let's check it out. Stair step higher here, guys, on the 1 minute chart. Some okay volume coming in. We'd probably want to see this get bigger here. Otherwise, it can just roll over if we have the declining bull volume. We want some big bars on the 1 minute, the size of these sell-off bars, to convince us the bottom's in. Otherwise, we just keep hitting these averages and rolling over. The difficulty of Bitcoin adjusts, is that today? I thought it was another few days. So roughly every 2 weeks, 10 days to 2 weeks, the difficulty does adjust. Where's other statistics? let's have a look at Bitcoin difficulty. So because the hash rate has been dropping, guys, the Bitcoin difficulty is going to drop down. November 16. Okay, so we are due for that difficulty to adjust. So it should be every 14 days. So on around the 30th of November. Okay. So I would have said it's another week away, as I thought, another few days away before the difficulty adjusts, but it is going to adjust downwards. And we reach an equilibrium, and then maybe some more miners come online. They're profitable to mine again at the slightly lower difficulty level. And as you've heard me say, the price and mining difficulty isn't a bottom. The price to mine Bitcoin isn't a bottom. It can continue to go as low as it wants, guys. The Bitcoin difficulty will adjust whether Bitcoin is $2, $200, or $20,000. There's a point that it adjusts to form an equilibrium. Apparently, a few people didn't like that comment. Unfortunately, that's the reality of the algorithm. 7 thumbs down. $100 people in the Cairns crypto community. Awesome. Yep, we want to go up there. Bitcoin ABC hash rate has plummeted 50%. Let's have a look. So okay, so the yellow there is Bitcoin ABC.